You know what? I just realized I never gave my thoughts on the Pokemon Sun and Moon starter final evolutions, so I think it's pretty safe to do that right now, and here is what we have. So, it's some weird history with what happened here. That back in June, these images surfaced, people like, obvious fake, they look too real, like the person's trying too hard, so they kind of fizzled out. And then a Chinese leak appeared that was talking about some things that eventually started unfolding when it came to Pokemon Sun and Moon, because after that, we had the island trials that were released. So this started to gain some credibility, and then the Diamond Stones, the Z-moves, became apparent, and then there was talk of the Archer, Wrestler, and Siren, where these images resurfaced. So it's like, wait, I thought this was fake, but it's actually proving to be real, and now we have a sea cucumber, a mushroom, and a rugby monkey. It's been, like, super real after the last couple of releases, because Rockruff's evolution being a werewolf, well, Lycanroc, that happened, and then the rugby monkey, well, we have Passimian. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to give my opinions as to what's going on right now. And also, this has been theorized and speculated that this is going to be the final evolution regardless, because it showed Mallow, and it had some strong traces of what's going on with the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime. So as time has gone on, this just seems more and more plausible. So let's go and check out Popplio's final evolution. Now, I'm actually a big fan of this design, that a lot of people haven't really enjoyed it or appreciated it much, and I don't understand why. People are like, oh, it's too girly, and that way it just doesn't seem like a possibility. This is actually one of the reasons as to why people thought the original, like, leak was a fake thing, because, like, no, this thing has, like, way too strong of gender roles, that Popplio is too feminine, and then the Litten Evolution is too masculine anyway, so it kind of looks dumb, therefore it's not going to be real. But I'm actually a big fan of this, because if we look at Popplio, this follows Popplio's personality through the evolutionary line, and that really only means good things. Also, the poses really line up, just the way Popplio stands and has, like, a little bit of a, yeah, I'm happy, kind of proud showmanship to him, and I think that that's a really cool design aspect to Popplio, but then it just has a lot of other really fun qualities about it, so we can see that carry over into the final evolution, and that's something I really like. But as for the design, it's an elegant design. I love the idea of a siren Pokemon. I love the idea that's kind of mermaid-like and a very graceful Pokemon. I mean, we can see there's even good emotional references and stuff. This is actually, like, the best leak we could have had for any of the final evolutions and stuff, because this is the anime reference sheet. This is supposed to be different poses, different facial expressions, and it's going to give us the most about the Pokemon that we can understand without even playing the game. So we get to see some different poses, we get to see some personality in here, and so far, even though I'm already on Team Popplio, I'm going to enjoy this final evolution, and it should be the other way around. If I'm on that, you know, if I'm picking Popplio as my starter, I'm going to be overly critical. So the fact that this gets passing marks, I really enjoy it. It's a pretty awesome looking Pokemon, and I don't really have any complaints about it. Next up, we have Rowlet's Evolution. Okay, guys. This is my favorite by far, because this is like some of the coolest design elements I have ever seen in Pokemon. So we look at Rowlet. Rowlet, it's just like a coconut looking thing, and then it turns its head around and it shoots out little like feathery leafage things, and I wasn't really too impressed by Rowlet. Pretty much the biggest thing, and people are like, oh my god, it turns its head around, that's so boss, it's like the coolest thing ever, and that really didn't sell me. So I had Rowlet above Litten, but it was really like a close third more than a close second. Not really too interested in Rowlet's design, because I'm like, alright, we got an owl Pokemon, that's pretty cool. But then the evolution comes out, it's like, oh damn, this is definitely the best, because there's so much emotion, there's so many cool design elements. I've never even thought about the concept of like turning your arm into a bow, but it's so freaking clever that I kind of noticed this when I first was analyzing these leaks before we knew 100% they were leaks. I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, but that's almost too cool and too clever for some kind of Pokemon design. But this is absolutely wild. So it grabs, like, it just shoots out a Vine Whip, grabs it, oh hey, look at that, now we have a bowstring, and then you shoot out the little arrow things, which are kind of like a homage to the leafage move that Rowlet already gets. So hopefully it gets like an advanced leafage as it evolves, therefore we have something competitively useful. But even then, it has like arrow wings, and it just goes and, like, I guess it plucks a feather out, and then it just like turns into an arrow and starts shooting at the opponent by turning its wing into a bow. That is so awesome. And then also the hooded design element works out really well, that we can see with like the different aspects. It even has like pull strings, so if it's frustrated and like kind of upset, it can just like pull and then close its hood thing. It has so much personality, so much good characteristics to it, and that just looks like a really awesome Pokemon. You know, it just kind of has like that hooded rogue kind of element to its design, and then it is the Robin Hood Pokemon, and I love that people were calling it Root Hoot or Robbing Root, and I think that that's actually a really awesome concept, and Game Freak just ran away with it. Now we have like one of the most, well actually there's only like one other owl Pokemon that's not Towel, and this is like the most badass owl design that could have come from that, so it seemed almost too good to be real, which is why people might have like passed this off like, I don't believe in these leaks right now, but the designs are absolutely wonderful, and if I was basing off of just final evolutions, I would probably pick the Rowlet line, but I like Popplio too much. Popplio's so adorable, and at least its final evolution is pretty strong as well. So next up, we get to Litten's final evolution, and this is the one that I have seen pretty much no one be happy with, because it's a wrestler, anthropomorphic panther fire cat thing that shoots fire from its silly looking wrestler belt, and it does wrestling moves and stuff. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's that great of a Pokemon. Now, unfortunately with Litten, it was kind of also the least shown Pokemon with what it's capable of. Okay, cool. It licks itself and then it spits fire. I mean, we at least got to see some other frames of reference. We got to see other personality and action sequences out of these other Pokemon, but Litten, it's just a cool cat. It seems like it really doesn't care, and it has that essence around it to where it does feel like a really laid-back Pokemon. A lot of people took a shine to it, but then, ironically, it has just a really lame-feeling final evolution that doesn't really hold much back to Litten. Like, okay, I guess it shoots poison, fiery hairball things, kind of like what Litten does. Like, Litten's idea is cool, but you don't see much of that in the final evolution, except for, like, a little purple spittle thing, so I don't really understand. I think the only thing that might be cool about this Pokemon is that you can use its belt as a stovetop? So if you want to make tea on a sleeping Litten final evolution, I guess that's what you're capable of. But other than that, it just looks like an awkward guy that, it looks like someone got a freaking, like, way too over-the-top wrestling mascot, or maybe a cereal box mascot, like Tony the Tiger's crazy brother that came out of WWE or something, but it's not entertaining. It's not a nice Pokemon design to me. It doesn't feel like it belongs in Pokemon, and that was like one of the other nails in the coffin, like, oh, this has to be fake. No one's gonna believe that Litten Final Evolution is real. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. It looks like the Rowlet Final Evolution is amazing, and then the Litten one, not really too many people. And if it's firefighting, oh my god, I think the community is going to have a stroke. And most people have already had a stroke just looking at that and going, oh man, it's going to be firefighting. Now, there is potentially something saving this, because in June's Korokoro, we had the Rockruff official reveal, and it said that Rockruff, Litten, Rowlet, and Popplio all had a secret. And then we found out that Rockruff's secret is that it changes forms depending on which game it evolves in. If that evolves in Pokemon Sun, we get the midday form, and if it evolves in Pokemon Moon, we get the midnight form. So I'm wondering, and I think a lot of people right now are wondering, if that's where the secret kind of transfers over. That if you buy Pokemon Sun version, you're going to get a different evolutionary line than if you buy Pokemon Moon version for the starter final evolutions, because it has that same secret. You know, they were all grouped together. Rockruff got to show that it has its secret, and then it just makes sense that that's going to be it, because we already know that the day-night cycle has some pretty strong importance in the game, that in Moon version time has shifted 12 hours, and that there's even still Sun and Moon exclusive Pokemon. Even the Ultra Beasts change depending on what game you get, so that has a lot of weight to it, and maybe it'll be crazy enough to have it to where the starter final evolutions do the same thing, which means all of you fans of Litten out there, you might not be stuck with this, but also it means you might have to change your game decision depending on what final evolution you want. I'm not a big fan of that, but it does give some crazy diversity, and it could really play into it. Because I want Midnight form for Rockruff, so I hope that the starter evolution either looks better, or that is the Pokemon Moon version form anyway. So at least, 2 out of 3 isn't bad, and if they're alternate forms, then that works out pretty well. So I'm not disappointed by the designs at all. There's always going to be Pokemon that you don't like in pretty much every generation. In the starters, it feels like, you can't have a perfect set of 3 starters, unless that's what Game Freak is trying to do, that with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now you have 6 final evolutions to choose from, so that way something has to go right across all of them, and that's what I'm thinking. Now, also just looking at Pokemon Sun and Moon, as a whole, I love all the designs. Like, Mimikyu is already, like, one of my favorite designed Pokemon ever, but then all the other ones, you know, Pick-a-Peck is a cool little bird with a lot of personality. The Rockruff evolutions did not disappoint. We had months of build-up, like, oh, here's a little puppy Pokemon. Oh, by the way, it has a secret. Oh, by the way, its evolutionary secret is this, and the Pokemon look good. And then we also have a lot of the other designs. Some of them were off-putting at first, but have actually grown on me. Others, I'm still not a big fan of. But overall, like, I'm liking a majority of the designs, and that is already a good thing for Pokemon, because when it comes to designs, I think that's one of the biggest things, that you're always engaging with these Pokemon, you're always interacting with this. One of the big reasons why Pokemon Black and White 5th generation is my least favorite generation, because I kept getting pulled out of the gameplay. I could not enjoy the experience with all these awkwardly and poorly designed Pokemon. So then as we got, like, different designs in 6th generation, I loved it. It felt a lot more whimsical, it felt a lot more back with Pokemon. And even then, like, the storyline and the gameplay of Black and White wasn't that fantastic for me. So it just shows that all the parts of this game, tons of gameplay, tons of engagement, and really awesome design incentives and, like, design inspirations and stuff, that was the word I was looking for initially, is solid. So right now, Pokemon Sun and Moon has 2 thumbs up for me, and I cannot wait to see more reveals, more leaks, and then also just getting closer to the actual game release. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the Alolan Pokemon designs are pretty awesome too. Yes, even Alolan Exeggutor. I mean, you can tamper with my childhood and still make it work with the designs, Game Freak. That's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to the Alolan designs. Like, Alolan Marowak is one of the coolest things ever as a reimagining and a redesigning of a Pokemon, but all the other Alolan Pokemon, it works for them, and that's just more ticks in the boxes of Alolan designs, or the Pokemon Sun and Moon designs being awesome. So if you guys enjoyed the video, I already said this, thank you very much for watching.